What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is the first video I'm recording this year. My part 2 of the Nostalgia and Wrestling series is coming out. There's been just a little bit of a delay. I can edit the fancy stuff. Ryan of the famous Ryan Manik YouTube channel does that, and his PC broke before I could get it finished. So that's coming. Hopefully this weekend I'll see the crack with it. But yeah, this is me. I'm back. I did want to talk about Wrestle Kingdom, I did want to talk about like Genesis, but I've just been really tired and going back into college, getting back into a routine. You know, I've just thought I'd leave it till I go back to college, and here we are. I'm back. It's Wednesday morning. It's Impact, Wednesday afternoon by the time you see this, or Wednesday evening rather. That means it's Impact review time. And full disclosure, I did not watch Impact last week or Genesis. I am going to watch Genesis for the Super X Cup and the I Quit match, but like I said, just been tired, not in a routine. Now that I'm back, I'll watch them through the week. But yeah, let's get back. Like I say, Impact, second show of the year. And it was fun. It's the go home for Hard to Kill, which obviously has that massive main event, the 6-man tag with the Good Brothers and Kenny and the Motorcycle Machine Guns and Swann, obviously on AEW last week. The Young Bucks joined forces with them, and there was a whole big old 5-way 2-suite right in the middle of the ring. So I'm very excited to see what happens going forward with that, with the partnership. I've always been very excited to see what happens with this partnership since it started, but let's just crack on with what happened on last night's Impact. The show opened with Kimberly taking on the number one contender for her best friend, Deonna Purrazzo's Knockouts Championship, Taya Valkyrie. Obviously, Taya was flanked with Rosemary, Kimberly was flanked with the champ, Deonna Purrazzo. And then a really good back and forth match. I really enjoyed it. Towards the end, Susan, what Father James Mitchell made Sue Young, he couldn't make her Susie, she's now Susan. She came out and her and Deonna started just battering Rosemary. So there was a little bit of Rosemary and Deonna got in a little scuffle outside. They started beating her down on the ramp. That distracts Taya for long enough to allow Kimberly to roll her up and get the win in a really fun match. I want to see Kimberly do more on Impact. Taya's great, Kim's great, Deonna's great, Sue Young's great, Rosemary's great. So all this, I really liked it. It was a good way to open the show. We then get a promo of the club in the bus. Not much to say. They're just sort of acting dumb and talking about the main event, which is Karl Anderson and Chris Sabin, and looking forward to Hard to Kill and just sort of setting the scene for the rest of the night. We then got another paid advertisement with Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone. This one wasn't as funny as they were at the end of last year. Like I said, I know they did one last week. I've not seen it. There was a couple of good jokes. They just sort of plugged tomorrow night's Dynamite. Bigged up Hard to Kill a little bit. And it was still fun. Tony was wearing the big 2020 glasses, which I thought was fun. But yeah, I liked it. It's not been as good as they were at the end of last year. So, you know, it's whatever. Before we return to the ring, then we get the promo, the video package for Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards' barbed wire massacre match. And just... I'm just excited for this to be over. I don't care. Like, I like them both and I think the match is going to be great. But, it's just a bit fucking naff, isn't it? Oh, we're going to fight forever. Oh, this is the last match we're ever going to have. Oh no, I kidnapped your wife. Oh, can't you? Oh, now we're having it. It's just get it over with. Just get it over with. And, please put Eddie Edwards back to like the Noah Eddie Edwards in the tights and not the 3/4 lengths. Anyway. We then had a tag team match with the two number one contenders for the X Division Championship, Chris Bay and Rohit, who will be teaming to take on Manik at Hard to Kill. And Manik was teaming with Suicide. And obviously, there's that. It's fucking, just pish. Pish. Absolute pish. I hate Manik. I hate him. Just put the belt back on Rohit or give it to Chris Bay. Please. Overall, the match was good. Like, it was a fun match. Rohit's great. Chris Bay's great. As much as I hate to give him any credit, TJP's good. And Caleb Conley is fantastic, and he's who has been under the Suicide mask lately. And it was just a really fun match. There was a spot towards the end where Manik had, I think, Chris Bay in like an octopus stretch, and Suicide had Rohit in a sleeper, and they were sort of able to throw them off. As the match was drawn to a close, it looked like Rohit had it won, but then he started trying to unmask Manik, because obviously if he does, management will have to strip him of the title, because proof that TJP challenged for the X Division Championship again. But Suicide ran in to make the save, and as he was getting ready for his finish, Chris Bay, who was a legal man, hit the ropes, Art Finesse, picked up the win over Suicide going into the pay-per-view, which means Manik's going to retain because they have momentum going into the pay-per-view. And when has that ever fucking worked out? In the favour of anyone in wrestling, I hate TJP. I hate him, 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 I hate him. I hate him. Rosemary and Ty are backstage then, talking about what happened in the opening match, and Ty says, look, I'll be with you for your match against Tennille, and Rosemary goes, no, don't worry, look, rest up. You've got a championship match this weekend. I have a plan, or we have a plan, as she says. And, I mean, you know something's going to go down in that match with Tennille later, so that bit a little bit of excitement for me. But then on a match that wasn't really a match, it was kind of a match, but more set up an angle, and it was Tommy Dreamer versus Cody Deaner, who's now just going by Deaner. Towards the start, Rhino and Joe Doran got involved, and they get thrown out. Then Deaner went to the outside, Cousin Jake and Eric Young were both still there, and he just slapped Cousin Jake a bunch of times, and then he battered them and won by DQ, and then Rhino and Doran and Eric Young and everyone just a big brawl, and then EY and his friends, they just stood tall, obviously, because they're the most nasty men in the whole wide world. We then had a weird Franken segment, I guess you could call it. It's the contract signing for the Knockouts tag team titles, but the contract's already been signed. We see the titles, very nice by the way, I think they're really, really nice. And then Kiara and Tasha are talking shit, and then Havoc and Nevaeh get up and they go, don't ever talk shit, because we're gonna beat you for the titles. And then, like, it almost breaks into a fight, and then Brian Myers walks in, he's like, not very professional that, that's not fucking doing that if I was here, because I'm the professional here. And then Scott Hall's like, what do you want? He's like, I've won loads of matches, why are you not giving me a title shot? I beat Hornswoggle, I beat this guy, I beat this guy, I beat this guy, I even beat Josh Alexander. And then Josh Alexander comes in, he's like, you won by DQ, why don't we have an actual match? And then Scott Hall's like, okay, have a no DQ match, I don't give a shit, and he walks off. And that was the whole segment. It was weird. It was really disjointed. Tennille Dashwood had a match with Rosemary now, and this was fun. I think Tennille's great, I think Rosemary's great, and obviously Caleb with a K is fantastic. Not a lot of note happened. At one point, Caleb tried to sweep the leg, and Rosemary caught him and messed up his hair. And then he pulled a little thingy of hairspray out of his pouch, out of his satchel. And that's important for later. A little bit more back and forth, both women very, very talented wrestlers. It was a good match. Then Caleb tries to get involved again, and Crazy Steve comes out from under the ring, because Decay, who's used to be partnered with Rosemary, takes Caleb out the occasion. And as the ref's distracted with them fighting, Tennille tries to use the hairspray. Rosemary sees it coming, counters it, spear, wins the match. And yeah, I thought the match was fine. I would like to see me a bit less gimmicky, but it's kind of hard to have a non-gimmicky Tennille match right now with Caleb, unless you're putting her against, like, Deonna. But I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it, so, you know, not much to complain about. We then had another match, which is something I believe was set up last week. I missed it, so I think Moose had a 3-minute challenge, maybe, and saying that you can't last 3 minutes with the champ. And he must have wrestled this guy, Matthew Palmer, because he came out again to wrestle Moose. As soon as the bell rang, he just started hitting some like absolute Bryan Danielson drop kicks. Just taking him out. He hit like 5, but Moose just no-sold them all. And then proceeded to throw him about. Just proceeded to, best way to describe it, as he was playing with his food. He wasn't going in for the kill. A little bit of a comeback here and there. Bang! Moose is bigger and stronger. Oh, a couple of... Fucking bang! And then, right at the end, Moose does what he's been doing lately. Just got him, knocked him out, and then went down. Referee stoppage, picked up the win with the elbows to the temple. And everything they're doing with Moose is so perfect. But I don't know how much I'm going to like what they have been building with Moose when Rich Swann overcomes it. Because Rich Swann's great. And I do like him as the champ. But Moose is just... Moose, as far as I'm concerned, for the money's up. And he has been for a while. And they can't continue to give him chances without damaging his stock, but they also can't have their 4th world champion since, what, July? Like, it risks becoming very Attitude Era, but not like the good Attitude Era. We're talking like X-Pac blacking up Attitude Era. You know, it's more on that end of the scale than like Rock and Austin. But I can't believe I just compared Impact changing world titles to X-Pac blacking up, but we move. I know what I meant, you know what I meant, we're done with it, we're moving on. It's time for the main event now, as Karl Anderson took on Rich Swann, and this match was just setting up the main event for Hard to Kill. Backstage are the Motorcycle Machine Guns in a room watching a TV. And funnily enough, they weren't like this. They weren't giving it away. Television's there and they're giving it all this battle. So we can find there's a camera there that can see my nice shiny new merchandise t-shirt and the TV. They filmed it from behind the TV because it's fucking obvious that's what they're watching. Oh, I love wrestling, but I hate it. I hate it. And then on the bus, you had Callis, Kenny, and Gallows. Also, very clearly watching a TV that we don't need to see because we know what's going on in the ring. Oh, fucking stress me out. I could talk about that for days. Anyway, the match was fine. Rich Swann was never really able to get out of third gear because of Karl Anderson being bigger and stronger. Anderson looked great, Swann looked good, but it's just, anytime he was able to get a couple of big moves in, he wasn't able to get his full comeback. And I remember looking at thinking, there's not much time left, he's got to have a comeback now. And then he rolls him up out of nowhere and picks up the win. And yeah, it was a fine match. I think it was the first half to what could have been a good match, and then it ended. And that was my issue with it. But the show did go off there with a bang as Kenny and Gallows just ran in the Motorcycle Machine Guns green room and just started beating the shit out of them. Then Rich Swann gets back and he starts jumping, and then there's the big old brawl. And the show goes off there with a massive brawl, and I am so excited for Hard to Kill. Overall, I thought this show was a solid 7 out of 10. There were some weird missteps. I think the main event had the finish just took away from it. The stuff with Dana and Dreamer didn't really need to be a match. I don't care about Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan anymore. I know it wasn't a match, I know it was just a promo, but I don't care. And the contract signing promo was weird because then Brian Myers came in and made it about him, even though the whole segment should have been focusing on the titles. But it is what it is. Hard to Kill is going to be fantastic, and I'm very excited for that show. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel. I have some very, very cool video ideas coming in the hopefully near future. I will definitely be back tomorrow with an AEW review, and we'll see you at the weekend with a Hard to Kill review. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow, and have a good day.